Dallas Cowboys Sports. All right, we're coming to you with some latest stuff. Obviously, we're gonna be dealing with the Dez Bryant reaction to Brian Flores. We're gonna talk about, what's going on, because this is gonna end up at the Dallas Cowboys doorstep. Don't think it's not. It's coming. The Brian Flores situation is going to be ongoing. It's not going to be a quick turnaround. This is going to be questions after questions after questions, as there are new things that's going to break. In his case, there'll likely be more people that's going to come out, talk about those stories. It's going to be real icky. So we might as well talk about it now, because it's going to show up, because you already know. It's going to be brought up with the Cowboys some kind of way. Whether it's going to be, what's Jerry's take on this? The world needs to hear from Jerry. It's going to be a whole lot of ways this is going to show up at our doorstep. So we need to talk about it. We need to stop acting like racism is a topic we have to avoid. So, but we go talk about it at Dallas Cowboys Sports with some measured Kool-Aid. That's how we rock. I promise you it's gonna be measured. We're gonna look at this like we do everything. We're gonna look at it from all angles. That's always the best way, so that we can obviously get better as a country, as a people, all people, and get better as a football team. Don't be so delusional to think that these black players that's in the majority of these locker rooms don't care. They care, and they watch. They gonna be watching how the NFL handles this. These players are gonna be watching how their individual owners handle this. It's time to stop acting like race is something that we shouldn't care about and shouldn't be open to talk about. This is easy. And we got to get over the fact of we might hurt some feelings. So what? So if you come in here talking about, I don't come here for that. I come to talk about sports so that I can relax. We'll come back on the next show. But if you're patient enough to watch and listen, you should know me. I'm gonna bring this with balance. We'll bring this with the sensitivity that it deserves. I'm definitely not scared of this topic, and I never will be. Never. All right, we gonna get into it. Y'all give me a second to set this up. Yeah, we here. We ready to talk about this business. Let's get it. All right, so we gonna always start first with greeting the people. All right, here we go. Yeah, so I see Aaron in the building. He says, what up, boss? What's going on, big dog? Then we got Antoine. He said, what's good, boss? Antoine again, tell me something good, BJ with the eyeballs. What's going on? He say, we shit, they say they have to interview minorities, but if they If they already have a candidate in mind interviewing, it's just a mandatory process. Yeah, it is. And it works just like that. It works just like that. Now, the funny thing is if people pay attention, this news is definitely not new, because I brought this out even before Brian Flores. I said most people didn't pay attention to the Florio interview. He already said when they was looking at getting Sean Payton, he said they was gonna go through this process of interviews. He was talking about the Rooney Rule. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I wasn't planning to because I already got my topics ready. Let me see. Is that it? Oh, I got it. Oh. Ooh, man, this is one of them good days. Say, you can tell it's a good day when your stuff already ready to go. Ooh, here we go. I didn't even know I had this ready. All right, y'all give me a second to set this up. This gonna be a nice surprise because I wasn't even planning on doing this. But, hey, that's what happened when you got your Millennial Falcon. This thing fly good. So make sure this volume up. Here we go. Let's listen.
ProFootballTalk.com released a story that is an excerpt in his book, Playmakers, that is coming out. And I got to say, the payoff matched up to the hype and the tease that you had, an unbelievable reason why Sean Payton didn't replace Jason Garrett. Good morning, Mike. Good to have you back on the show. Tell us what happened.
Well, and this really is crazy. And when I heard the story while I was writing the book, and let me give you the background, because people are like, well, why is this coming out now? Why didn't it come out 3 years ago? When I got the offer from Public Affairs, the publisher of Playmakers, to write a book about the things that have happened over the last 20 years in the NFL. There's over 100 different stories, essays that delve into how the NFL operates, some of the crazy stories of the past 20 years. They said, here's something we want you to try to do. And we know it's not going to be easy, and we know there's not going to be one of these for every single one of your essays, but let's find some stuff. Let's do some new reporting. Let's get some stuff that isn't already out there for some of these things from days gone by. And I said to him, look, don't expect much here because, you know how the NFL is now. It's covered 24/7. I mean, we're always on top of everything. So I did trip over some things in the process of trying to rub the lamp while writing the book, and this is one of them. And so it was 3 years ago, just about now, and the context is the Cowboys had lost to the Rams in the divisional round, and the Saints had lost to the Rams in the championship round, capped by that ridiculous non-call of pass interference that screwed up the rule book for 2019. So immediately after that game, Saints were eliminated. That's when the Cowboys started to lay the foundation, and this is all backroom, behind-the-scenes stuff. It doesn't happen out in the...
All right. So he's talking about the Cowboys started to lay the foundation for Sean Payton. Listen.
Open, because you don't activate the process of actually hiring Sean Payton until you know that you can pull it off. The Cowboys had a deal worked out with the Saints for what the compensation would be.
So they had a deal worked out. This Mike Florio. All right, listen.
And a deal had been worked out with Payton as to what he would get paid. And so what would have happened next is Jason Garrett would have been fired. They would have done their search.
That's the part right there. See, that a lot of people miss. They would have done their search. What search? Hold on. Listen.
Immediately after that game, Saints were eliminated.
Listen.
That's when the Cowboys started to lay the foundation. And this is all backroom, behind-the-scenes stuff. It doesn't happen out in the open because you don't activate the process of actually hiring Sean Payton until you know that you can pull it off. The Cowboys had a deal worked out with the Saints for what the compensation would be, and a deal had been worked out with Payton as to what he would get paid. And so what would have happened next is Jason Garrett would have been fired. They would have done their search. They would have known all along what they were going to do after.
They would have known all along what they was going to do. I'm not tripping.
You got fired.
I'm not tripping. He talking about the Rooney Rule.
They did their search, and guess what? That happens from time to time in the NFL.
Oh. Guess what? That happens from time to time in the NFL. See, this is how disrespectful this has gotten. Y'all listen. to where they got to where they was just disrespecting the Rooney Rule in the public. Even the journalist was like, this happens from time to time. These supposed to be principles put in place to make sure there are fair practices. And he was like, nah, this happens from time to time. They already have their guy, and then they go through and do the search. Hey, I heard that right. Did I? Now, why was it not news then? Why was it not news? Because I said it when it happened. I said, this dude just said, if you go back and look into when that stuff broke, that's one of the things I said. I said, man, that man just talked about getting through the Rooney Rule. And he admitted it. Hold on real quick. All right. I'm going to go back to the interview, but we got us a super chat. Let's talk about this super chat. My boy said, this shit happens all the time. Flores just caught Belichick slipping, and I don't blame him for suing. Oh, man, no. At all. Oh, this is going to probably be one of the best shows on Boss Cowboy Sports, because you know, we do the measured Kool-Aid on here, but man, this Kool-Aid is But we got to talk about this stuff. And what we gonna do is we gonna talk about, you know, some of the issues. We gonna talk about race out loud. We ain't gonna trip on it. No, should nobody ever trip on that, because we got to talk about race. How you gonna not talk about race when it's been a cancer and a thorn in this country's history since its birth? Like, you got to deal with what's been a consistent problem. You can't get it to where we don't talk about something that continues to divide us. It's crazy. But we gonna talk about it. We gonna talk about it. But let me finish that Florio. Then I'm gonna get into actually what I was here to talk about, because I forgot I had this. But here we go.
And then after they would have searched for a while, they would have officially contacted the Saints about compensation for Peyton, and then they would have officially contacted Peyton and hired him. That was going to happen. That's how it was going to go down. And on January,
he said that's how it was going to happen. That's how it was going to go down. All of that, what he said. So he's saying Jerry Nim was going to get their crony, fake interview guys, to get the Rooney Rule out the way. See, this is the ugly thing about what's getting ready to happen with this lawsuit, because now you got stuff like that that can be brought up in depositions. Stuff like this that was put out in the public, now they gonna be pulling in Jerry like, hey, we gotta talk to you because Mike said something about what y'all was gonna do, and you got this in your book. You said this publicly to the fan. So some people go come over here like, man, I'm not here to talk about race. Race has hit your team. Race is not in your face, dog. I'm not here to talk about it. No, you better talk about it. We better talk about it now. Because I just showed you where Mike said before all this stuff broke and before all this stuff got nasty, that he got it in this book that Jerry and Steven was getting ready to do that. Exactly what got New York in the mud. Dallas is in this, and people not peeping it yet. But see, this is a legal thing. This is now legal. See, the details are just now surfacing, and they're going to be digging because this is legal. So all of you guys that wrote these books that's coming out, all of you guys that got your guys that you talked to where you quoted that's getting ready to be in your book, and you clearly said this is how it goes down. Ugly, ugly, ugly. So, but I'm gonna go about this different, man. I'm definitely gonna take the chat. We gonna go back and forth on this chat a lot. Y'all really help us with the show. A lot of people didn't even know I was gonna go live today, but it's so much information, and I think we can talk about this in a way that can bring us together. So the first thing I want to talk about when we trying to bring us together, hold on real quick, going through these super chats. Start chatting now. If y'all start throwing a chat in now, I'm going to throw it in the show. He said, hey, boss, what is the meaning of the NFL antitrust exemption, and will it play a part in a lawsuit in Congress? I got to look that up, big dog. But I will do my homework on that. And the next time we talk about this, I'll have your answer. All right. So I want to talk about, and y'all really hear me out. Hear my heart, okay? Because we finna talk real, okay? This battle of racism is really not a battle between races, even though it is. It's more so, y'all hear me out. This is from how I see it. This is more so a battle between good people versus bad people. That's how I see it. And I'm going to tell you why. I don't think there's no other channel that warns you more against the propaganda that comes from the media than Boss Cowboy Sports. I warn all the time that news organizations get a lot of eyeballs through manufactured drama or real drama. They don't care as long as it make you watch. So when you see these race issues that pop up in this country, when you see these race issues that continue to pop up, now, I don't care if you like what some would call liberal media or conservative media or local news. All of them use division tactics to get you to watch. So if, let's say, you watch what some would say is liberal news, a CNN, MSNBC, and they're covering the Trayvon Martin murder with Zimmerman. When you watch them, you go come out feeling like we under attack. You go come out feeling like white people don't care about us. Because you go feel like the world is oppressing you. Then if you say, okay, forget this, I'm going to turn it on. I'm going to turn it on Fox. So then when you turn it on Fox, their news will go be totally different. You go think blacks are burning up the city. That's exactly what you go think based on the news you watch. But if you actually use your eyes, see, I deal with that a lot. Y'all know I deal with that a lot. Trusting your eyes over hype, over what people saying. What do you see? And I started notice something very quick. I want y'all to hear me out. This is an important show. This is the start of Black History Month, which also was the start of a case that's getting ready to go down. We got to talk about this. And let me tell you what I observed. I'm going to show y'all some pictures from Trayvon Martin and the protests. Let's silently talk about what we see. What do you see? What do you see? What does your eyes see? Not what the news say. What does your eyes see? You know what I see? I see white people. I see black people. I see Asian people. I see a lot of people that hate injustice. So is it that the blacks are burning down the city? Is it that the whites are coming to get you? Or is it a majority of us hate injustice? And I mean that, a majority of us. Because I'm going to tell y'all something. There is no war that was ever won to bring progress and race progress that didn't start and finish with blacks and whites fighting side by side, the bad people. Yeah. I'm going to show you another crowd because I'm going to come back to that. This is the Michael Brown protesters. What do you see? Let's look at this like film. What do you see? Now, you would hear neither media source talk about the crowd, though. That's the first thing I noticed when I would turn it on Fox, and I would turn it on MSNBC, and I would turn it on CNN to watch how they're covering the protesters. And neither side would talk about the actual crowd. Because the crowd paints a totally different picture than the person with the microphone. See, the person with the microphone will be saying, it's chaotic out here. It's crazy out here. But if you actually look at your eyes, what you see is America. You see diversity. You see whites and blacks together hating injustice. Yeah, my boy say, boss, some people ain't gonna want to hear this. This too real. Hey, listen, that's okay. That's okay. We still gotta talk. We still gotta talk. Even if they don't want to hear, we just gotta talk. And we gonna talk about that. We gonna talk about the games that's been played to where the narrative is you shouldn't talk about race. It's now so-called politically incorrect to talk about race. And they basically gamed a lot of people to think if you bringing up race, just bringing it up. Just bringing it up. When you see real problems, they'll come to you and say, why you playing the race card? Basically trying to make you into a real life tap dancer. Nah, man. Nah, we got to talk about this. This ain't stuff that we just bury our head in the sand and we just watch this country get divided over lies. And there's some truth. There's some truth too. Yeah, we gonna talk about the truth of the treatment, because there's some bad treatment that happens. But we gonna also handle this in balance, because if we talk about this imbalance, I start seeing that we really not as bad as we seem and not as good as we seem. But we gonna deal with it from all sides. So when I'm dealing with this, when I talk about good people versus bad people, I'm gonna tell all black people, the white people in general are not our enemy, because most of them are good. Again, we wouldn't have won the Civil War unless there was white blood. We wouldn't have got through civil rights unless the white folks was with us, fighting with us. We didn't have enough. We wouldn't have had a first black president unless a majority of whites voted for him. Y'all don't want to hear this, but I'm gonna tell you the truth. Because certain people do want us to believe that we are under attack. And in some ways we are. But we gonna talk about who actually attacking us. But I do want to let everybody know before we get heavy into this content that it's a lot of people that's fighting with us. They just not vocal. We will want them to be more vocal. They active, but not vocal. See, the people that's the actual minority are the foolish, die-hard racists. They the real minority. But the majority are good on both sides. That's why we have so much progress in this country. You couldn't have progress unless it was a whole lot of people that wasn't for bigotry. They didn't like it. Now, we want you to be more vocal, but we do know and should see that we are getting help. Black people, you're not by yourself. You're not by yourself. White folks, we're not coming to get you. We actually are all brothers and sisters who come from one man and one woman. So we gonna talk about it, but we gonna talk about some challenges, but we also want to start off on the foot of what's really going on. The measure Kool-Aid of what we really are about in this country. Number 2, there's obvious racism versus learned bias. The problem is learned bias and obvious racism, both can have racist results. Both. So let's break that down. All right. First, obvious racism is defeated through violence and lobby. Because when it's obvious racism, I'm talking about the sick type of racism. I'm talking about the type of people that's very comfortable using the N-word in your face. The type of people that actually mobilize to go after a certain color of people. And they're organized about it. The type of people that would join groups to target other minority groups. See, those types, we got to talk about those types because there's too many people that's silent on those types. Those types are very violent, and we got to talk about that. They're violent. That's why it's usually the ways to stop them is usually through violence. That's why we had a civil war, because they was going to break up the union over the obvious racism. They was going to break up the country. And to keep the union together, they had to abolish slavery. And they had to fight. Because they will walk up in a church and they will kill up people worshiping God. See, we got to talk about that part. See, that's the part people don't want to talk about. That's the part we want to gloss over. The rise of domestic terrorism and the history of domestic terrorism in this country. The obvious races. These are also the races that the good people can't stand. Good white people, they can't stand them. They can't stand these types. But they too quiet about these types. They too silent about these types. Because sometimes this is your cousin. Sometimes this is your brother. Sometimes this is your friend. Sometimes this is a guy you grew up with. You drank beer with. Your family didn't raise you to be like that, but their family did. And they are the worst type of racists. They are the people that's turned down this country and organized to do it. And they're dangerous. They have invaded our police forces. They are trying to become our elected officials. They would actually rather this country be Russia or a communist country under a white state than true unity. That's why I'm serious when I say the obvious racists, they don't stop unless it's violence. It's always violent with them. And look, it's white people going through this violence. It was white people that sat with us. And they got it too. They got it. Yeah. So when you see Brian Flores talking about what he's talking about, like this is bigger than me. This is bigger than podcasting. And a lot of us, let's be honest, we done got soft. We done got soft. All of us, we done got soft. We scared to lose. Like it's people that would literally come in here and say, oh man, I came in here to talk about football. I thought we was gonna talk about football. And they'll be mad and try to bully me. Like, nah, I don't want to hear about race. I want to hear about the Cowboys. Yeah, you can try that on somebody else. That ain't gonna work on me. That is not gonna work on me. That's gonna work on somebody else. Real quick, I want to play something real quick. I promised Nate Boyer. I talked to Nate Boyer today. I was trying to get him on the show because we did a show before, but I promised him I was going to feature something that he got coming up, because Nate Boyer is a class act human being. Okay, so he actually is putting together a movie. Okay, MVP. right? So I want y'all to support Nate, because Nate, he was the one that told Kaepernick to kneel. A lot of people don't even know that. It was Nate. And this movie, the MVP, is going to be featured around the Super Bowl. February 9th, 4 p.m. to 7. Support him. Because I'm telling you, he support America. I'm telling you, I talked to Nate. And Nate Boyer, he told me the whole story behind Kaepernick. Kaepernick. It's amazing. If you need, research it. I ain't gonna tell you the whole story. But the reason Kaepernick took a knee was a white guy. And he told him to do it as a sign of respect. So we'll deal with that in a second. But getting back, but I do want y'all to support that. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna show that again at the end, because I want y'all to support that. Nate, he goes out his way to help veterans and to help race relations. He is somebody to support. I mean that. So anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. Yeah, it is violence that usually come with the obvious races. And lobby, meaning you got to organize. You got to organize to take them out. But then 4. The scary one is the learned bias, because that's hard to see. But it also has patterns. I'm going to tell y'all something about that learned bias, though. That learned bias is kind of weird. Learned bias is weird because, y'all hear me out. Learned bias is because sometimes it don't have a color. Learned bias is based on a lot of times how you grew up, what you saw growing up, what you was taught. So I grew up in an all-black neighborhood. Listen, I'm letting my soul out on this one, but we got to talk about race, and we got to be honest about it from a measured perspective. I went to all-black school. I was in an all-black neighborhood. My church was black. We were surprised if we saw white people in my neighborhood. If we saw a white person even drive through my neighborhood, we was like, wow. So the only thing I knew about whites, Asians, Hispanics was from television. So that's what formed my point of view. I didn't start learning about how people really are until I went to the University of Houston, which is a very diverse school. And that's where the biases that I had dissolved into reality of who people are. And I found that everybody is different, and everybody should be judged on their individual character and merit. That's what I learned from experience. I also learned, keeping it honest, that I was weird around other colors and cultures because I didn't know how to relate. I didn't know that everybody was as simple as to just talk to them like you talk to everybody else. I didn't know whether I needed to change my tone, soften my eyes. I didn't know what to do around other people of other hues, other colors. And it creates biases. Sometimes you prefer to deal with people that's like you because you feel more comfortable. Let's keep it real. I go to my hood, my partner's gonna be like, what's up, Sly Boss? What's going on, my dog? I'm gonna be like, what's up, G? I feel comfortable. I go to somebody else's neighborhood, they're gonna say, how you doing, Marcus? Feeling great. I'm gonna say, doing great too. But I'm knowing they different. They don't talk like my hood talk. So we develop thoughts based on where we come from. We develop thoughts based on what our dinner tables taught us. We develop these things. They become our subconscious. They also become patterns. Those patterns also can sometimes become racist patterns on both sides. And I'm gonna tell you something, and we just talking real. We talking real. Like, there are certain things that both sides can do that's low-key biases that we've developed. Like, if we see a white guy playing corner, everybody be like, ooh. Why can't we just be like, that's a good athlete? You know, he got good hips, he got good hands, good ball skills. Hold on. Let me see what my boy Eastside. Eastside, you be putting in them super chats to hate. Let me see what you talking about, big dog. He say, you know, hillbilly Dallas fans don't want to hear about B. Flores. They act like this type of stuff don't exist. All right, well, East, that's why I'm dealing with this, big dog. I'm dealing with this because I'm from Dallas, and I'm telling y'all and everybody that this stuff do exist. But I got a whole thing on the Texans, so you just wait. I'm going to talk about your Texans because the Texans is low-key the most racist team. We going to talk about that too. So I know you want to come in here and throw some stones. Your house full of glass, big dog, for real. The Texans is horrible. I'm going to go through the Texas history. It's horrible. They really need to take that team. I'm going to be honest. That team jacked up. All kind of racial issues and undertones with the Texans. I played for the University of Houston. You don't think I kind of looked at my neighbor and the local news and saw what was happening? Y'all ashamed. I don't see how you even support them, big dog. They might as well put their balls on your nose. I'm gonna be all the way honest with you, man. They might as well not wipe and sit on your face. That's how disrespectful they are to blacks. Y'all the only team in the EEOC lawsuit. Oh yeah, I got that. So, you didn't think I had that? Oh, I got that ready. We talking about your team, big dog. EEOC, the Texans. Pathetic. And then you got the nerve to come in. Bro, you can't be doing that, dog. But this bias stuff is real. And and I'm gonna talk about how to fix it. And I'm glad you came here, East. You was right on time because the next thing I was gonna talk about is the biases. And guess what my next topic is? The Texans. Right on cue. Thank you, Eastside. I get a chance to educate you about your team. So on 2019, the day of the draft, I saw them getting ready to make their first pick. And the first thing I said is, there's no color in that room at all. Shake my head. So some of y'all like, you playing the race card. I hope somebody come at me. I hope you come at me and say that. Boy, you can't try that on me. I promise you, I got something for you. I hope somebody come to me talking about a card game. When we talking about real issues and you go try to minimize race and the sickness and the disgustingness of it, but trying to minimize it like we trying to play victim. And guess what? See, I said this April 27, 2019. Some people will say, because remember I said bias has a pattern and can have racial results. Y'all remember I said that? Oh, so was I crazy? Was I crazy? Oh, I wasn't crazy. You know why I wasn't crazy? Because it came out. It came out. The ex-Texas GM accused of firing black employees so he could hire whites that looked like him. But people say, boss, you was playing a race card. Listen, I lived in Houston. I know the demographics of Houston. I know the demographics of the University of Houston. I know the demographics of everything in that city. It's one of the most diverse cities. There's no way possible a city that diverse should be full of no one color. Just like it shouldn't be just all white owners. That's like trusting an all-white jury or an all-black jury or an all-Asian. You never do that. You never take that because you have nobody that can see the world how you potentially see the world. Yeah. Yeah, so, boss was playing a race card. Boss, I thought you was better than that. And they'll go into your stuff and try to shame you. They'll try to shame you. They'll try to make you feel like you're a bad guy for telling the truth. This is disgusting. How you an NFL team and 70% of the players are 80% black and everybody in there white? I was like, I saw it immediately. And guess what? Because I follow the draft all the time, it was obvious. Because all you got to do is look at the reaction when they pick Watson. Round 1, pick 12. It's only one person that seemed happy they got Watson. But look at the room. When Rick Smith was the GM, that room was diverse. You can see it. It's clear. Then a good old boy take over, that room turned white as snow. Quick. I saw it instantly. I was like, I remember the draft room. Like, it's a such thing as, yeah, if the guy is qualified, then you got to hire him no matter what color he is. You telling me it was no qualified color, don't work? See, that's the game the owner's playing. They trying to act like we not qualified. No, what y'all doing is y'all trying to circle the wagons and keep it to power with you guys. You trying to keep the jobs with you guys. You trying to protect Lil Billy, Uncle Ray Ray. You ain't trying to do what's best for society and have all people compete. White, Asian, black, Hispanic, whoever the best draft guy, you should be the person that got a job in here. No, that wasn't the case with the Texans. That's why I say it got patterns. See, and it's scary because even with a room all white, that still leaves room for circumstantial evidence. Because the standards of courts is beyond a reasonable doubt. So if there can be any room for doubt, they can kick your case out. Even though it does look obvious, it got to be above reasonable doubt. You got to catch people now with these biases with real smoking guns. But this is the saddest and scariest part as we really talk about it. And we're talking about it real today. Sometimes these biases are not even racial biases. Sometimes it's just how you think. It's a whole lot of black people that got biases for and against their own people. It's some white people that got biases against their own people. A white guy show up, the first thing you go do is put him at tight end. You didn't even check his speed. You put him at linebacker. You never even assume that he had the athleticism to maybe play corner, maybe play safety, maybe play running back. White people judge white people with bias. Y'all better hear me. That's why I said that learned bias, that's the trickiest one. Because it can almost be colorless, but it can still be racist. Because you get racist outcomes from it. You get racist outcomes. Now the people that could be actually exercising the bias have no idea that it is bias. They just think that's their worldview and that's how they see it. I'm gonna give you some examples. Like quarterbacks. It's every year. It's every year. Every year, black quarterbacks for no reason just sink in the draft. I'm talking about with no reason. This list that DJ did was from 2016 and 2018. Remember 2016 was Dak rookie year when he was rookie of the year, 13-3. Now, all of a sudden in the 2018 draft, he not even on the list of prospects and top prospects. Deshaun Watson was 7th. This is after he played in the league. This makes no sense at all. There's no logic to justify why you would project Sam Darnold over Deshaun Watson. And y'all remember this? Y'all remember this? Somebody said I might be going over their heads. No, I ain't. I ain't over their heads. They know exactly what they doing, bro. They ain't dumb. They know exactly, because they try to play dumb. They play dumb all the time. Like, go listen to people talk about Eric Bieniemy. I just think he had something in his background when he was 20. I think Andy Reid is actually calling the plays. They come up with all kind of fake reasons why Eric Bieniemy has never gotten the head coach job. Nah, bro. Don't let them play you, because they trying to play you. When they do that kind of stuff, they basically trying to make you a tap dancer, dog. No, you ain't gonna make me no tap dance. I'm not finna be over here listening to your BS and your garbage. Nah, you listen. No, you go treat us right. You go treat us fair. That's simple. But yeah, this bias happens every year. It happens every year like clockwork. It made no sense for Lamar Jackson to drop, because he won his Heisman as a junior. His numbers was better as a senior. He was in a pro style system. How do you have better numbers, better performance than your Heisman year and drop to 31st? That's why I say this stuff got patterns. It got patterns. And yeah, it's real. Bias. I'm gonna tell you something else that's fake. That where you can hear the bias that comes out. It comes out of black people. It comes out of white people. And some of this stuff is insulting. It be cold words that can't read a defense. He needs to go to Romo and learn how to read a defense. So you gotta listen to the undertones. Read. See, you talking about Cowboy. You can't run that game on me. You can run that game on somebody else. You cannot run that game on me. It's not gonna work, dog. I'm gonna just be all the way honest with you. With that weak case, you messed up, dog. You messed up. That ain't gonna work on boss. That ain't gonna work on boss. Let me help people with that one, because that one ain't even hard. All right. How can somebody be credited for being a better reader of the defense when they had way more turnovers? Explain that. Can somebody explain that? Huh? So if you so good at reading defenses, why in the first 45 games of both of them starting, Romo had twice the interceptions with less sacks, more fumbles, but all of a sudden he's the king of reading defenses? No, the test of if you can read a defense is your production minus turnovers. And not only that, this is the worst part. I'm finna tell y'all the truth and nothing but the truth. The saddest part is people that say that can't read a defense, they can't read a defense. That's like somebody that's illiterate trying to tell somebody they can't read. That's exactly what that is, which lets you know that it's bias speaking, because it's not logic. I'm gonna show the Dez too. My boy say Dez was on fire. Oh yeah, I got that Dez. We gonna talk about that Dez. We almost finished with this race. We gonna talk about Dez. We gonna go all the way through that Dez. But listen, because this bias stuff is real. So, talking about reading the defense, this is what's crazy. Listen to me. This is real. So, They say, how do you read a defense? I know how to read a defense. You know why? I played defense. I played corner. So I know the defense. I know what cover 2 is. I know exactly what it look like. The corner's going to sit. If it's a hard cover 2, it's going to be 2 safeties that's taking the halves, or basically called half the field. They're going to be drops by your linebackers into the hooks and flats. That's what you're going to see with cover 2. You're going to see the same look in a soft cover 2, except that corner's not going to sit. He's going to more so float. He's going to float into his zone coverage, and he's going to try to stay between the first and second threat, especially if they're in his zone. He's going to split the threat. It's easy to see. Cover 3. I'm talking about how to read a defense. You can read that a couple of ways. Sometimes cover 3 is given away by the corner on how he turns. Because most coaches, when they teach cover 3, they teach their men to turn towards the field so they can see all vertical threats. So if you're a quarterback and you read in that corner and he turns towards the field, that's an automatic read in less than half a second that's cover 3. Man coverage with 2 man, you're going to see the corners trailing with 2 safeties over top. I'm telling you, I read defense. I know how to read a defense. I can look at it and say, that's cover 2, that's soft cover 2, that's cover 3, that's cover 4, that's 2 man, that's press man, that's off man. That was a zone concept that turned to a man concept. But these same people who can't read a defense will sit up here and say, that can't read a defense. Because it's bias. And there's a bias a lot of times with black quarterbacks and intelligence. And it's made up. It's a bias. Your dinner table told you, oh, black quarterbacks can't think as good, even though that got a master's degree. Yeah, so we got to talk about the type of biases that we fall for. And then we start repeating this stuff. We start repeating it. We start saying what people fed into us. Man, you crazy. All right, let's get to 5. The worst bias changes the rules. That's key. That's key. See, that's how you know when it's real sick bias, because they would change the rules right in your face. And I'm talking about black people do this, white people do this, Asian people do this. Anybody that would change the rules right in your face is a sick bias. And that's the worst bias. What do you mean, boss? What do you mean? Okay, let's just look at the quarterback, for example, right? So usually what's taught is when you have a quarterback that played in big games, right? That had great performance, was a good candidate, scored well, went through the testing well, they should be a top candidate, right? Wrong. Because the standard for Deshaun Watson was different than Mitchell Trubisky. See, the standard changed all of a sudden. See, we supposed to have these check boxes that we go by, but those check boxes get ignored when you want to change for your bias. Then that's when it start having racist results, because the standard is not clear. You change the standard whenever you want to. So at first, small schools is a knock on you until you're Carson Wentz. Injuries are supposed to be a knock on you until you're Carson Wentz. Inconsistency supposed to be a knock on you until you're Sam Darnold. Small schools supposed to be a knock on you until you're Jared Goff. The dude with the real resume was Baker Mayfield. He had a good resume. His measurables was questionable. Josh Allen had all the measurables. his numbers and his accuracy was truly horrible. But look at all the optimism with the people that had all the question marks. What was different? The standard. You just changed the standard. See, when it's Dak and he had an epic year one, it's, well, let's wait and see. That was just one good year. I got to see it for 3. But when it's Josh Burrow, he's instantly elite. Oh, well, damn, how that happened so fast? When it's Herbert, oh, because you change your standard. And your standard change is giving racist results. That's what Brian is talking about, and that's what Brian is going through. That's what he's going through. That's what his lawsuit about. The standard changing. See, when it's Dak, it's called dink and dunk. When it's the quarterback, Jones from New England, it's called giving what the defense gives you. Oh, damn, how that standard just changed. That just dink and dunk. Then all of a sudden, you see a quarterback that they're using as a game manager, which is smart to do with a year one quarterback. You developing him. Oh, that label is all of a sudden totally different. Y'all give me a second. Read the super chat. He said, all that mess is this Dallas media led by ownership to deflect heat off of Kellen and McCarthy and put it on Dak and Cooper. Of course. That's exactly what's going on, Coach. Yeah, so it's the changes that let you know. It's when the standards change. See, my dad used to always tell me, he used to say, Marcus, why does blacks tend to exceed in sports? And I used to be like, I don't know. you know, my daddy tried to teach me some wisdom. I was like, I don't know. He's like, this is why. Because the standards are a lot more clear. You can't just move first down an extra 2 yards because you want to. First down is first down for a white man as it is a black man. When the standards are clear, we do better. But when you can move the goalpost, when one guy can be from a small school, see, people don't remember that, see, Carson Wentz and Dak both played in the Senior Bowl. Dak was the MVP of the Senior Bowl. Dak was the Heisman candidate. Carson Wentz was injured his senior year. Dak took his team to number 1 the first time in school history. And then you know what these people will come in and do? They'll come in and say, but Dak had a DWI. Oh, yeah, that's cool. Because guess what? Baker Mayfield had 2. And was on camera, went 1 overall. So that's what I mean. The standards change. So with one guy, DWIs can knock you all the way to the 4th round. With the other guy, he can be caught on camera running from the police, and they can be like, but you're the number 1 overall pick. You was just young. You was just young. That guy that they love at New England right now, he had 2 DWIs. 2! Didn't knock him at all, did it? Yeah. And look. Yeah, see, people forget. I remember how these guys was evaluated. Oh, everybody loved Mahomes now. Oh, people didn't love Mahomes during draft season. They did not. Look at how they talk. Look how Charlie talked about Watson. He said, after talking to NFL teams and watching his tape, I don't think Deshaun Watson is anywhere near a top pick in the draft. He said that. This is after Watson won the national championship. He was the second running up to the Heisman. He went to the national championship twice. He broke records in both games. Yeah. So, yeah, that's what Flores is talking about. That's what he's talking about. He finished the season 7-1. He had the biggest turnaround in NFL history this year and got fired. Ooh. Somebody say turn on Dak tape. I don't even know what that means. All right. Yeah, I ain't even finna play with y'all. I ain't finna go down the weird track today. Now, this the last point before I get into the Dez content and the other stuff. Biased excuses. The biased excuses is camouflage for the obvious races. See, because we talked about them. The obvious races are the dangerous races. They the dangerous races. Then you got people that's biased. Then you got people that change the goalposts for the bias. See, when you dealing with the biased person and the racist person, the sad part is they start looking just the same. You can't even tell the difference. Because the dangerous racist person, they go hate Dak just because he black. But then you got the biased person who hate Dak because they got other reasons, but they don't got nothing to do with race. Sometimes it's Romo. Sometimes they just don't like his game. Sometimes they just trying to be right. But the problem is the obvious races sound exactly like the biased people and the dumb people. And people will literally try to play you. We gonna talk about this and then we gonna get into Dez. One of the most insulting things in the world is when people literally try to come to us and say stuff like, you know, that Southern flag has nothing to do with racism. It has something to do with Southern pride. You guys need to get over it. I'm not taking down my flag because you sensitive and you playing a race card. See, and they'll literally have you tap dancing like, why you playing a race card? That flag has nothing to do with race. Even though people was carrying that flag as a terrorist symbol. Even though Dylan Roof went into a church with that flag and murdered people worshiping Jesus. Even though with that flag that you wave, and I don't know if you just somebody that love your Southern pride, or are you one of the scary domestic terrorists? You trying to ask us to assume that you mean well when you carrying an item that meant you wanted to kill me. You trying to play me like that? And they done got so comfortable that they would literally try to have us tap dancing. They would have us like, oh, I ain't bringing up the race card. Hey, I just want to have a conversation. So, guess what? Let's get into solutions. Then we go get into Dez. All right. I promise y'all we was gonna get into solutions and then Dez. And this Dez stuff is important. We gonna go through all the Dez stuff. I'm gonna react to it because because you know Dez don't went out, but you know it got something to do with Brian, so it's on topic. So here we go though, because you know I gotta talk about solutions. We talked about the problems. I always talk about solutions. All right. So solving some of these race issues. All right. So the peace strategy. Number 1, steps. Ignore the new social norm to avoid race topics. Don't let people tell you, oh, it's not politically correct to talk about race. See, when people hustle you like that, and they make you think talking about race is a bad thing, what that does is that allow the worst parts of people to grow in silence and safety if you can't call them out and if you don't call them out. Because we got to understand, when domestic terrorism on the rise, that also means potential violence towards people of color and different creeds is at risk. So you can't afford to be quiet because you're trying to be politically correct for maybe minimum gain. Because people that get turned off because we having a real discussion based on real problems of race in this country, they can't affect you like you think they can. You shouldn't care about them. Listen, there's some people that's not gonna come back to this channel just because of my thumbnail, and it's obvious that I'm talking about race. They won't be back. I don't care, because I don't want a sub or a supporter that I gotta cater to and tap dance for. If I can't be honest about the risk to my kids because domestic terrorism is growing in this country, that's not going to affect you, Mr. White Person. It's going to affect me and my kids. The next time they decide to use a bomb, my boss say I'm going in. I ain't going in. This is the truth. If this is going in, we done got soft, big dog. This ain't even going in. This is just the truth. How can an organized domestic terrorist group, which our own FBI said is the biggest risk on America, is from within? And we supposed to avoid this topic because I'm going to make some people mad, and there's going to be some people that's going to be like, boss, I really didn't come here for this. I wanted to hear about the Cowboys. I already told you. It's coming to your doorstep, son. Listen, they just came out a week ago and said that Jerry and Steven was going to go through the mock interviews to hire Sean Payton. This is now legal. Brain, think. So we got to talk about race. Oh, I want to talk about football. We talking about football. All right, let's keep going. Never let anyone call a race concern or discussion a card game. You bet not. That's a boss cowboy violation. You bet, because I watch some of us. I watch us. We be tap dancing our ass. I don't mean to cuss. I don't want to cuss because kids sometimes watch. I do realize that sometimes people be watching me on their televisions, on their fire sticks. But now I be watching y'all on social media. Some of y'all be straight up tap dancing. I be seeing it. Y'all be apologizing. Y'all be apologizing for a discussion that we got a right to discuss. That is okay to discuss, and that we all should discuss. It's just we should be able to discuss this without insults. But as long as we talking in facts and we not making stuff up, how you gonna let somebody call a real race concern a card game? I'd be surprised when I just watch some of my brothers and sisters just let people, oh, you playing a race card, and then you be going back and forth with them. You know what I'm saying? You be going back and forth with them. Yeah, once they go there, bro, you can't do nothing. They already, listen, it ain't even worth going back to somebody that even say something like that. Anybody that's that insensitive to call race a card game with the history of this country. This country did a deal with the Iran-Contras and had arms for cocaine under the Reagan era. And they unloaded it in California and fueled the crack epidemic that hurt our community. This country studied syphilis on black people for 40 years. This country. 2008. People say that was a long time ago. You can't blame that on us. Okay. Well, let's talk about the mortgage crisis. The mortgage crisis of 2008, where 40% of blacks lost their wealth. You know why? Because the banks targeted black communities to unload those toxic loans, knowing it was a scam. This country. And so when we talk about, they came out and said we was wrong on Kaepernick, but never gave him a job. This country. Somebody said Black Wall Street. That's a great example. You know, people say black people, they just need to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. We did. It was called Black Wall Street. It was 100% independent, 100% black people, on banks, on stores, on malls, on dental offices, on law offices. It was bombed. Government bombs. This country. But then they'll say, y'all, because y'all concerned with what's going on in the NFL, where all these black coaches just get fired with winning records. Some of them, they'll get hired into a toxic organization and get fired the exact year. Like what happened with the Texans. And they got the nerve to really look you dead in your face and say, you playing a card game. Like you don't have a right. Ooh, people talking about I'm going hard. This ain't hard. I ain't going hard at all. How is the truth going hard? See, we done got soft. That's what happened. We can't tell the truth without feeling like we going hard. Like this supposed to be, I guess this supposed to be bad because we talking about the reality of the difference of treatment. That's why the good thing is it's a majority of white folks that agree with me and that protest with me. I already showed y'all that. Yeah, it's a whole lot of white folks that hate injustice. But what happens is the loud racists is the ones that make y'all quiet. When we figure out that the majority of people hate racism, we go get louder about it. We are really being quieted by a minority of loud racists. The people that's really loud about race, the people that pop up in your comments like, shut up, boss, I didn't come here for race. It's about 200, 300 white people listening to me right now, or go listen to this and go be like, ooh, I felt that. They gonna be like, I felt that. I'm sick of all of this. I'm sick of the toxicity. I'm sick of racial divides, political divides. So many of us already like that. That's why I say, look at the crowds the next time it's a protest over injustice. Don't listen to the news alone. Look at the crowd. Use your eyes. You go see something totally different than what people saying. When they say white people out to get you, go just look at the crowd. Look at the protesters. When they say the black people they burning down the city, just go look at the crowd. Look at the crowd. You'll be surprised that it's actually a lot of times white folks that's vandalizing because they also sick of injustice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm not going hard, bro. This is just keeping it real. This is not going hard. I'm just keeping it real. Let me get back to these solutions though. Y'all know me, I get into a preacher mode or something and I just get carried away. So never let anybody call a race concern a discussion a card game. Don't let them have you tap dancing. And don't accept we listening. We should never accept, okay, we're listening. We're listening. See, when people say we're listening, see, they dragged you all the way up here to say, okay, now we're listening. Now you know what the problem is. Let's get down to some solutions. Nah, we didn't come all the way for me to talk and then vent and go off, and then I done went off, and then you be like, yeah, yeah, See, we are listening. That's a stall tactic. That mean they ain't finna do nothing for you. Lisa say every job has similar issues worldwide. Absolutely. Ooh, don't let me tell some of my racist stories that I went through in corporate America. I'm number one in the country. I was literally number one in the country, right? And I got the trophy. The first thing my regional managers do is walk right up to me and say, hey, Marcus, I think we should put a gold chain around your trophy. He was mad because I was making more money than him. Yeah, we all go through this. Yeah, I done got locked up for nothing. For nothing. And I'm talking about 16 years old, 17 years old. Police just come mess with you and just put you in handcuffs, take you to jail, search you and frisk you illegally. And you got to call your mama, and your mama like, where are you? I got to pick you up from, what you do? Nothing, mama, nothing. See, people don't know them stories that a lot of us go through. The different treatments at the job. Oh, I got the answers to that, though. I ain't gonna leave y'all hanging. This is a good show. Trust me. This show gonna help a lot of people. This gonna help a lot of people. All right. So don't accept we listening. Don't accept that we nah. We ain't accepting we listening. We don't do that. We come. Have answers versus just complaints. Have answers, not just complaints. See, that's where we mess up too much. When it's time, when the political powers is warm and ready, when people are mobilized, we never have a real good quality list of what we want. That's where we mess up. So the next time it's gonna be somebody go get murdered on camera or something, by a police officer, and we gonna be marching, and I'm mad, I'm tired of this, I'm getting so sick of this. Okay, what's your proposals for a bill? A federal bill or a state bill? What are your proposals? I got mine. I can tell you what mine are. Number one, we need representative juries, right? That'll make us have more equitable outcomes, because blacks, whites, Asians, if they all commit the same crime, they all sentence dramatically different. That usually happens from jury representation. So there needs some jury reform. That's one. Also, we need to also think about funding for mental issues for police officers, especially those that had to use force. Because there's some police officers out there that got some mental issues that nobody talking about. They got trauma, and they out here traumatized, and they tripping. They got some real life PTSD going on. Nobody talking about that. Some of these police officers need funding for their minds. That's real. We need to get rid of grand juries. Get rid of it. Because when you're dealing with the grand jury, you got the police going to his peers to decide if he's going to be indicted. That's like the Dallas Cowboys making me the ref. What you think I'm gonna do? I ain't throwing no flags. I'm throwing all the flags on the other team. You literally got the police going to their peers to decide their fate. That should be done by citizens. Whenever it's a police officer in an issue, it should be out the grand jury. That way, you know it at least going to get an indictment. Tamir Rice was 11 years old, shot by a police officer in an open carry state in a park. So you was in a state to where you're supposed to be able to carry your arms. You was in a park where you're supposed to be able to carry a toy. This police officer pulled up in less than 2 seconds and shot a kid dead. And he didn't even get indicted. Indicted mean it wasn't even worthy of a trial. That is a spit in our face. And I got a whole lot of more solutions. I'm not gonna get into all those solutions, but you can tell I'm prepared to talk about solutions, not just complaints, not just I'm tired of us getting shot down in the street and nobody care about us. How we gonna change this stuff? I'm gonna tell y'all another one. We need to decriminalize marijuana. Y'all think I'm playing. I'm dead serious. Oh, you trying to smoke weed, boss. You trying to smoke. It got nothing to do with no smoking weed. It got something to do with the systematic racism of how we're targeted 4 times more for the same drug that the white people do at the same amount, and it's more of them. We all use drugs at the same rate. 25% of whites use marijuana, 25% of blacks use marijuana, but we get locked up way more. So if you want to stop us from being in that system over dumb stuff, decriminalize it. It's so much we can do to make it better on us and make it fair on everybody. But we got to have a plan, not just complaints. We just can't be bitching all day. What is the plan? What are some of the things that we want to get behind and that we can actually hold elected officials accountable to this? Oh man, coming from my boy Starboy, this mean a lot. This is my dog. Hey, I appreciate this, Starboy. My boy say proud of my Oak Cliff brother. He intelligence for real. Man, I appreciate that, big dog. I appreciate that. It mean a lot coming from you, boy. It do. Cause you too. Good mind. But I mean this, we gotta have answers, not just complaints. And it's too much of that. Every time somebody's shot, that's how we do. We march for about 2 weeks. Some people go burn some stuff down. Some people go talk. Some people go to the funeral. Then it's gonna get quiet. It's gonna be the same shit. Oh, I didn't mean to curse. It's gonna be the same stuff. Enough complaining. What's the solutions? What's the answers? All right. Cause see, that's what I'm doing. Solutions. Like this is solutions. Here we go. Keep hope in the power of humanity. That sounds corny, but it's real. You got to keep hope in the power of humanity. Because, like I said, depending on what media you watch, either media go have you thinking the sky's falling. So if you watching liberal media and you watching what's going on with the protests, they go make you think the whites are coming to get you. You're gonna be like, oh my God, if I see anybody with a Trump hat, then you go to the other side and they gonna be like, those guerrillas, they're turning down their own city. Both sides are stoking fear. So you can't go for that. You got to keep hope. That's why I looked at the crowd. One more time. That's why I looked at the crowd. That's why looking at the crowd gives me hope in humanity. When you look at the crowd and you see, man, look at all them people that ain't got nothing to do with my injustice, but they still riding with me. Them people ain't, that injustice ain't affecting them people, but they took the time to come out their house, get in these streets for my people. So I guess people not as bad as what the news say and what they saying on those mics. Because if you watch them, they'll be talking on those mics, but they'll never address how the crowd look. The next time there's a shooting, watch it. You're going to say, boss said that. I'm like, yeah, just look at the crowd. Use your eyes, just like you watch film. Just like you watch film, just use your eyes. It's going to change you. Keep hope in humanity. Support causes that fight to end bias and racism. See, because it's not just racism that's the problem. It's the bias. Because the bias is giving racist results. The bias is giving us racist results. So we got to also fight bias. I don't care if that's bias from blacks, if that bias is from whites. It was a white guy that ran a 40 from Penn State. And he ran a 4.3 about 4 years ago. And Dion said, ooh, man, that white boy was moving. He got in trouble for that. But Dion was tripping. He was. If we really trying to fight bias, we got to treat everybody with one standard. We can't have this standard for whites and this standard for blacks. You can't do that. You can't be like, when Dak is taking what the defense give him, he dinking and dunking. But then when this other quarterback is dinking and dunking, you say he's taking what the defense is giving. He's smart. You can't say Dak can't read a defense, but he got less interceptions. But then all of a sudden you see Romo with more interceptions, and then you say, but his offensive line. See, you done switch the standards on us. That's why you gotta fight bias. I don't care who you see it from. If you see it from a black person, you see it from a white person, you see it from an Asian person, you gotta still fight the bias. Cause it's a whole lot of black people, when you hear them talking about Dak, you'll be like, bruh, are you Uncle Ruckus? You sound a little bit like Uncle Ruckus. If you don't know who Uncle Ruckus is, look it up. You sound real kind of tap dancing, my dog. Like, you kind of tripping, big dog. When I can't tell you from an outright racist and you look like me, we got a problem. I'm dead serious.
You got fire. You got flame.
That's why we gotta fight bias. So when you see all these different standards, and y'all see me do it all the time, I don't let people hold Dak to these crazy standards. I hold Dak to the real standards, not crazy standards. See, because I said this the other day. People got mad at me. I said the other day, I said it yesterday on the Final Word, matter of fact. I said, listen to me. I said Dak was not his magical self in the fourth quarter. I said that's the thing that I had that I thought was not good this year. He wasn't just crazy elite in the fourth quarter. People, oh, you tripping, boss. You just hard on Dak. This is actually factual. Because Dak passing rating was 150 in the fourth quarter in overtime, and he was 9-1. And if the game was tied. So was I hating or was I talking factual? But some of us man, the stuff we make up on Dak, I'd be like, bro, that ain't happening. Like, I know you want to say that this year was a bad year. Actually, it was not. He broke a franchise record in touchdowns and missed the game. So, yeah, Dak needs to work on some things. But the sky is falling that y'all talking about is crazy. Just keeping it real. Yeah, I'm cool with how Dak played coming off a ankle that almost fell off his leg and walked into the season missing most of preseason. I'm actually cool. My boss had to screenshot those stats. Ali, I also sent you those video breakdowns that you asked for. You asked me to send you the video breakdowns. I did. I put it in that comment. So make sure you go check that out, big dog. I put the film breakdowns of Lyle Collins versus Steele. Both film breakdowns. I put it under your comment. So just want to let you know that. All right. Going back to the solutions, man. All right. Almost finished too. Almost finished with the solutions. All right. Embrace discomfort. You got to embrace discomfort. You do. You can't be in this fight and don't understand that discomfort come with this fight. You got to know that it's going to be some people that's not going to walk with you when you walk out and you talk honest on race. It's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna leave you by yourself. You know what I'm saying? They gonna leave you by yourself. So you gotta embrace the discomfort when you talk about trying to solve race issues. Martin Luther King had to embrace discomfort. People that was fleeing from the South trying to make it to the North was embracing discomfort. If you want a better place for your kids and you want it to be better, like it's better for us, we cannot get scared now. We can't fall for that. It's not politically correct to talk about race. If you let them trick you with that dumb thought, with as divided as we are right now, we don't deserve the freedom that we have. Yeah. Keep up with political issues and vote. That's obvious. Just keep up with it. I would say watch both sides too. Don't just watch the left, watch the right. Don't just watch the right, watch the left. Watch it all. That way you can see when both sides are trying to play you. Last, and I mean this, use the EEOC if you have to. Use that EEOC if you have to. Because we talked about them patterns, right? We talked about those patterns, like when we showed the picture of the Texans war room. That's real. What happened with them? When it was Rick Smith, the war room looked like this. The GM changed, the war room just turned white as snow. That's a pattern. When you see a pattern like that, I'm gonna tell you, likely they coming for you. You gonna likely get run up out of there, because you got a boss that's trying to make the organization become his image and likeness. So when you're in an environment like that, yeah, get ready for that EOC. I had a lady friend. She was excellent at what she did. I mean, excellent. She was a manager, a regional. She rose through the ranks, hardworking. I know she was. I saw her firsthand. She never played around. You know how you go visit some of your ladies and you go visit them and then they be bull crapping because the man came to their job? She wasn't like that. She worked. She was always on time, in and out the office. So she didn't take a vacation for 4 years. She finally took a vacation. But she was noticing a lot of the blacks was getting treated different. If they had any altercation with the president, they was quickly run out. And a false file was built on them and they was pushed out. So she was on her vacation. She got a call. It's her president. Her president say, I need you to do this for me. She finally stand up for herself. She say, I can't do that. I haven't taken a vacation in 4 years. Such and such can do that. Please let them take care of this so I can get back to my vacation, please. Oh, I just needed you to do this. She said, I understand, but I'm not doing it because I really do need this vacation. I collapsed 2 weeks ago from stress. I need to rest. Oh, okay. Told me about it. I said, okay, well, you know the pattern. When you run in with that president, you already know. You chocolate, she likely coming for you. So I say, make sure you go up to her when you get off your vacation and just kind of soften it with her. Just apologize. Even though you did nothing wrong, just try to soften it. She did that. Y'all already know. She start coming for her. False documentation. Came up to her with a big old file within 3 weeks. You've done this, and that. 90% of it is lies. Just made it up because now they trying to document her out. because when they trying to get rid of you, they create a file. So she told me about it. I said, okay. I went to the homies, my attorney friend. Then I went to my other homie, gave me some game, and was like, bro, she need to go to the EEOC, and then we go get our attorney buddy to send a letter, which is gonna make them pause in the process of trying to terminate her, because when the EEOC get involved, if they fire her, they automatically lose. So at worst, she not gonna be thrown on her ear, and she gonna have time to find something else. To make a long story short, she won a lawsuit. Got about $40,000 to $50,000 within 6 months, and the back pay because of the treatment that she was going through. Yeah. So listen, I gave y'all some real game right there. If y'all need some help with that, I can. If y'all ever, cause see, you can't use the EOC if you full of crap though. If you ain't doing your job right, don't use them. But if you know you working with excellence and you got people that's targeting you falsely, showing bias and favoritism, oh, because that bias is real. I got so many stories. I told you about the gold chain, but I didn't tell y'all I had an intern working under me that my managers was treating him like he was my boss. I would come into the meetings and I'm #1 in the country, right? My managers, they was all haters and most of them racist. I'm telling the truth. I'm telling the truth. And hating on me because I was making more money than them. I'm telling the truth. This is the truth. This is no lie. Hating on me. I would come in, they'll be like, oh, hey. What's up? I'm like, hey, how y'all doing? Yeah, what's going on? You know? Oh, I'm okay. My intern come in. Oh, hey, Brian. Hey, that guy right there. He has a future with this company. Yeah, so a lot of us ain't surprised that no Brian Flores. We see this every day of our life. We see this everywhere, man. All of us got Brian Flores stories. All of us got Brian Flores stories some kind of way, man. But, ooh, man. Yeah, that EEOC was real. So let's get into this Dez. All right, we finna get into this Dez. We've been waiting on Dez. Let's listen to Dez. That EEOC was some real game, though. Don't take that for granted what I said. Because them people would the racist people would throw you out on your ear. They sure will, and eat good, like they didn't do you wrong. You'll be out there stressing out, trying to make ends meet, and they got rid of you for evil reasons, and they eating good. Now you gotta pay, baby. If you gonna bring stress in my life, I'm finna bring hell in your life, and I'm gonna have to give a check for this. You not finna take me through all this mental anguish, worrying about what my future getting ready to be because you attacking me because I want to stand up for my vacation. It was actually against employee principles for you to even call me on my vacation and not pay me. And I'm over here, I got kids. And now I'm worrying about how they go eat because you racist and biased. No, I'm finna put them people in your life. Y'all better get that number to the EEOC, and I'm gonna tell you something else. You can do it for free. And there's ways to get lawyers for low cost, or at least get a letter from a lawyer to make people back up. You got to play the game. That's how you play the game now. When you're dealing with them biased people, yeah, you get them laws in their life like Brian did. Oh, you playing with me? You got me doing these old fake interviews. You got me flying around and all that kind of stuff. See, this is the problem with that. What if Brian had 2 interviews that he had to choose from? And he chose y'all because he favored y'all, which made him fall out of grace with the other one. So you costing him career opportunities because you're trying to fill a Rooney Rule quota. right, let's listen to Dez.
I just read what the owner of the Dolphins tried to offer Brian Flores $100K to tank the season. I'm gonna tell y'all some crazy shit. The year that I got cut, and some athletes, I told athletes, hey man, I feel like our season getting sabotaged. That's just how I feel. There's no way that we should be running the same exact plays. I remember going into Coach Garrett's office, asking, hey man, you know I look forward to the game plan. Why am I lining up in the same place each and every week? Like if these guys on the other side not getting paid. There be times in the game I line up, I know I'm one-on-one. Dak don't even look my way. So many times on film, it was so many times on film, so that ball was not coming to me.
Hey, that part true. That part true. Yeah, that part true, man. That part is so. I saw versus the Redskins. Dez was on a rookie all day, and they was pressing him, and they wasn't throwing at him. See, that's why I call Kellen Moore receiver by committee 2, because in receiver by committee 1, they was trying to phase you out too, like they was trying to phase out Cooper. Yeah, see, I'm gonna get my block on. See, these type of dudes, these type of dudes you gotta watch, because they be the domestic terrorists. These types. So I went through this whole presentation. This guy said, I get so tired of this racist BS, I swear. See, them type of dudes, they dangerous. They dangerous. Because what they doing, unless you saying you tired of racists, like the guys that's racist. Now, if you talking about us talking about race, okay, you crazy. But if you talking about tired of racists, okay, I'm cool with you. Let me just tell me what you tired of. I want to first hear that. That's what I need to hear. But now Dez was telling the truth right there. They was not targeting him like he's supposed to get his targets. Not as the number 1. So here we go. Listen.
So it got to the point where I got frustrated and I was like, you know what? Fuck this shit. I'm gonna air this shit out in the media. That's what I'm gonna do. Because at the end of the day, we the ones who take that heat.
But see, Dez, a little bit, dog, you didn't air it out in the media, because I remember that tweet. That was a soft, politically correct tweet. He literally said, oh, racist people. My bad, Kenny. My bad. I'm so sorry, big dog. I was finna check you. I'm so glad that I double checked the context of what you said, because I was finna go off on you, big dog. I apologize. All right. But going back to what Dez was saying, Dez actually was politically correct. I showed that tweet 1,000 times on this show, where he basically said under his tweet, he said, how does my numbers, T. Will numbers and Cole Beasley numbers all go down at the same time? Our coaches are smart. We need to figure out if we running the same things and being too predictable, but we will figure it out. That was not airing them out. That was politically correct. That was similar to the soft tone of Amari Cooper, and he still got targeted. Y'all heard Stephen Jones talking today. I'm telling y'all, I'm thinking he's setting up to get rid of Cooper, and he using that cap as an excuse. My boy Gary say Kenny good, boss. Yeah, I'm Gary. I almost went left on my dog, because I thought he was saying, you know, what them Tea Party boys and weirdos be coming in with that. I'm finna get him. All right, but yeah, I see he cool. All right, here we go.
We the ones who got to deal with that shit. And I'm like, man, you know what, man? I can't deal with it. I told Terrence Williams and I told Cole Beasley. Right before I did that interview, this interview probably going to get me cut. And I was good with that. You can ask any one of them. I said,
see, my boy say I was good with that. See, I told y'all that be happening. I told y'all some of these dudes want to win so bad that they will go to the public. See, y'all ain't feeling me. I said that about a month ago. I said, man, when these guys go to the public, it's because they wasn't being heard. So when Amari went to the public, about wanting targets. That's because he talked to Dak, and that's because he talked to Kelly Moore already in private. My boy say Coop not going anywhere. I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I love weed. I hope you right. But I don't see it like that, bro. I don't see it. I've been watching these off seasons for some time now, and I be seeing how they be setting this stuff up, bro. I be seeing it. If you right, I would eat the mess out some crow publicly and say I was wrong, but I'm thinking that's what they trying to do it. And then K. Hayes say Amari saw what was happening. I agree. That's why he went to the public. He was like, these dudes is not targeting me. Oh my God. Oh my. See, this is likely the evidence of what I'm saying. If this is true, y'all get ready for what I told you. Mike Fish just dropped something juju to the Cowboys. If that's true, I'm telling y'all, they trying to get rid of Cooper. I'm telling you, because they did the same thing to Dez, and I warned it. When they got Hearns, they was like, Hearns is not a replacement for Dez. He came over with 88, and we had us an 88. So I don't know. I ain't as sold as y'all. Hold on real quick. K. Hayes, I did not see it. He said, boss, did you see the sounds of sideline with Dak told CD, if you get one-on-one, I'm coming off to Amari to throw it to you? I did not see that. The rabbit hole. Oh man, let me keep going. Here we go.
What's good with that? That shit don't surprise me. There's a lot of janky shit that goes on in the league, but hey man, it is what it is. But all I know is I love the game of football. I like to play a fair game of football. I ain't ever in my life gonna disrespect the game of football with some bullshit. That shit over there in Miami, that owner, that's bullshit. Man, I'm behind Flores, Brian Flores.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop right there. Yeah, I mean, Dez, I want you to do one more video. I do. I want you to do. Oh, my boy, put it. I'm gonna check that out, Star Boy. I'm gonna check it out as soon as I get off this show. But I need Dez, Big Dog. I need one more video. I need one more video, and I want you to actually talk about Brian Flores. I'm very cool with the history of what happened with the Dallas Cowboys, because to be honest, a lot of us already knew that's what happened to you. And we told the story exactly like you told the story. We basically said what you just said, because we've been keeping up with you, Big Dog, and we know you was a scapegoat, and we know that they was trying to go receiver by committee. We get it. But you also have a very big voice, and what Brian Flores he needs you to talk about some of the racism that you've experienced in the league. If you have not experienced it, don't say it. But if you supporting Brian, we need you to speak on what he's speaking on, in my opinion. If you really go help the cause and be for him, do one more video, Big Dog, because this issue is about bias. This issue is about people having a mind made up. Sometimes it's even worse than those two. Sometimes I don't want you as a representative of my team because of your skin. So I do appreciate the video. I like your energy. I'ma always love your energy, big dog.
Yes, sir. Call a motherfucker.
Yeah, I'ma always love your energy, big dog. I mean, always love that. But I need us to be more pointed if we saying we are supporting Brian Flores. That's my message as I watch the Dez video. So y'all heard me though, and y'all know where I stand. I don't think anything about this presentation was malicious. I don't think any of this thing about this presentation was off key or disrespectful. I think we measured the Kool-Aid as we discussed race in America, race that's coming to the Dallas Cowboys, race on these NFL teams, race with Brian Flores. I think it's a shame that 70% of the game is from people that are black and the majority of the owners are white. That is not enough progress. It needs to be a super strong lobby for the next owner to be a person of color. That needs to happen. It needs to be more diversity in ownership. Or you will continue to have the same results we used to get when it used to be an all-white jury. So y'all remember Tamir Rice? Yeah. Yeah, obviously we already talked about Tamir Rice. But yeah, we know what used to happen when we used to be those all-white juries. If somebody murdered us, they got off. They could murder kids, they could do what they want. You don't want all of nothing judging. You don't. If you a white person, you would not feel comfortable if everybody that walked into that jury was black. Don't lie. Don't be, I would trust it. No, you wouldn't. And you shouldn't. If I'm black and everybody that walk in that jury Asian, I'm gonna be like, oh my, what the? I thought this supposed to be a jury of my peers. Ain't nobody over there, ain't my peers, man. But we expect all these owners who look one way to then understand the people in which they manage. They don't. And I'm gonna say this about them Texans. The NFL is real messed up. It's way more messed up and way more racist than what they actually saying. If you pay attention, I'm gonna tell you one of the key ways to know that they really got some major racial issues. Going back to them Texans. Remember Bob McNair, the late Bob? People forgot. Remember he made the comment about inmates running the asylum? Y'all remember that comment? He made that comment, if I remember right, in front of the other owners. You got to think about that. See, if I'm hanging with a white dude and I'm in this other room and then one of his friends busts in and say, hey man, I can't stand them N-words next door. I'm gonna automatically look at him and say, he was way too comfortable saying that in front of you. That means you made him feel comfortable before. So likely you said it or you have not checked him for saying it. Because he was very comfortable. It's the same thing with Bogman there. The fact that he kicked his feet up in front of all the owners and said, we cannot let the inmates run the asylum, talking about the protests with Kaepernick. That lets you know that them insensitive racial jokes was a commonplace amongst the owners. But we supposed to trust them to be balanced and unbiased when they're trying to pick somebody to be a face of their team. So we supposed to believe them when we say when they say Eric Bieniemy doesn't interview well. Nah. Y'all too comfortable with the Bob McNairs. The Texans should lose their team. The fact that you can see with broad daylight easily a super demographic change in a matter of a couple of years. The room went from a mix of blacks and white to pretty much almost all white. To the point they got sued by multiple of the professional blacks in the Texas organization. People not saying this part, but they should if we was really doing true investigative journalism. Brian was down to the last two. He was down to the last two with the Texans. But see, the reputation of the Texans already bad, and it's so bad, and people already know how much of a joke and how racially insensitive they are, that he was like, I'm filing my lawsuit now, even down to the last two candidates. People are over there like, why do you think Watson was trying to get out of there? Watson would have been the first quarterback who just got a contract, who lobbied to get out of that organization. And they disrespectful with it. They disrespectful. Remember, I showed you at the beginning of the show how Mike Florio said publicly. He said it publicly. Jerry and Steven, they was gonna go to their interviews after they selected Sean Payton. He basically said they was getting ready to do the Rooney Rule, fluff interviews. Then he said they was gonna make an official announcement. And nobody said a word. They got used to basically saying, we piss on the Rooney Rule. We do what we want. And we waste all of those guys' time. Whenever I need an interview, I call Marvin Lewis. Hey Marvin, we want to take a look at you. Then then they got so comfortable, they in there like this. They drunk. They coming an hour late. All right, let's get to the. Yeah, so why do you think you want to be the head coach? They hung over. You over here. Yes, because I've actually led this team. We started out in a deficit, and by the time I finished, we were 7-1. I was the coach that actually had Miami Dolphins with 2 consecutive winning seasons. That hasn't happened since the 80s. Oh, yeah. Okay. We'll call you. Yeah. So, y'all check this show out. Make sure y'all spread this show. It's the same old. Make sure y'all like it. And y'all been doing that. Y'all have been hitting that like button. Because the numbers are way up in Boss Cowboy Sports. And that's because of y'all. For real. I've been also seeing that y'all have been sharing this content. Y'all have been doing it. I see it. The likes used to be in the 60s and 70s. Now them likes be in the 150s. And every time y'all do that and hit that like, they recommend these videos to more and more Cowboy fans. So y'all actually control the growth of Boss Cowboy Sports with a simple like. So before y'all get out of here, hit that like. Hit that like. Because I'm going to tell you right now, It's a whole lot of podcasters that's going to be scared and is scared to touch this topic. They scared because they don't want to offend the people that don't want to hear this, because they afraid of people coming in like, man, you know, I didn't come here to hear all that. I'm here for the Cowboys content. Or they hit you with the, see, I didn't come here to hear the race card. I don't care about losing them. I don't want nobody where I can't be myself with. I don't want nobody silent following me if I gotta hold my tongue on issues that could affect my kids. So now we tackled this and we go keep tackling this. I just don't get how this talk's supposed to be a big deal. Oh, boss is really talking about it. Oh, that's how trained they got us. That when you even have a basic racial discussion, people are like, wow, he's saying it. What? He said it. He really said it. That mean they control the narrative. And when I say they, I'm talking about the evil racists. I ain't talking about the good white people, because good white people feeling me. Good white people, I've been seeing them all day in the chat. Amen. Amen. Because good white people, they sick of racism. And they bleed for the cause. They get down for the cause. That's what people need to understand. It's a lot of white people that get down for the cause. So I don't understand why in the hell we are scared to talk to a minority group of diehard dumb racists. How do people that's a minority get to control the narrative? And y'all don't even represent the majority of people that hate racism. Whites in mass numbers hate racism. Blacks in mass numbers hate racism. Do we need to do better on our biases? Yes, but both sides hate racism in the majorities. We sick of it. We sick of it on our news. We sick of it in our politics. We sick of it in our jokes. We sick of it. We sick of it being dividing issues, prideful issues, people feeling uncomfortable. We sick of it. So yeah, man, you know, share the content. That's the next thing I'll say. Continue to share the content, and I do see y'all sharing the content. Y'all are doing that. Let's just continue, because that's the whole mantra of Boss Cowboy Sports, that your voice does matter. And when we put out content like this, this is for the good of the Cowboys, but this is also for the good of us all. This also has to do with the Cowboys, because I told you and I warned you, this is a legal issue, and they gonna be doing a lot of discovery. And that means they gonna be looking for all the clues to try to really uncover the systematic racism that's likely in the NFL. And this go jump at Jerry's doorstep, especially with Mike Florio talking about that they was getting ready to conduct some sham interviews. Exactly with what Brian Flores just went through is what he said Jerry and them was getting ready to do with Sean Payton. You telling me Jerry and them might not get caught up into this? Yeah, so we better keep our eyes open. But this is Boss Cowboy Sports, where your voice matters.
Boss Cowboy Sports, where your voice matters. Boss Cowboy Sports.